Hey guys, it's Jenny here. Welcome back to my channel. So we are kind of doing a change in setting. Usually I'm at my desk and I have way better lighting, but my desk chair is covered and my curtains are up and it's gloomy out, so I don't have very good lighting as it is. But today I figured we would go over my May TBR. So before I forget, shall we go into the TBR unwrapping portion? 3, 2, 1, and go. Let's do some TBR unwrapping, shall we? We're going to start with poetry. So I picked number 1 because that's the day of my birthday. And I figured, hey, new month, new TBR. Let's get it, right? I've been really wanting to read this. This is like right up my alley for my birthday. That's just an old receipt. Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill, which is a poetry collection based on mythology, I think. Yeah, Greek goddesses. I'm pumped. And then my mom picked number 7 because that's her lucky number. I don't know what this one could be. Blue orange. So this is The Lioness Awakens by Laura Eden. Oh, thank God, most of these are really short, too. Yay! So that's the poetry I'll be reading for May. And then I just picked 2 random books off my pile. I think that this one's fantasy, and I think this is sequels, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's open sequels first. I should have known. I should have guessed. Trials of Apollo Book 4, The Tyrant's Tomb. So I will be reading this probably on audio for May, which is just in time because I think the last book in the series is coming out really soon. And now for the fantasy, which I have no idea what this could be. Because I didn't even know what Frostfire was, and that was a small fantasy book, so. I did not see that coming at all. Huh. Yeah, I guess this is kind of like a dystopian sci-fi fantasy. Totally never would have guessed this. Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, these are the 2 from my TBR unwrapping, for the novels anyways. And then these are the 2 poetry collections. So, yay! Shall we move on to the next part of the video? So now that you have seen the books that I have unwrapped in my TBR pile, let's just get on with the video. So obviously first, these are the 2 poetry collections that I will be reading for the month of May. I'm actually quite excited for both of them. This one has shorter poems, but I think that they're really going to have an impact on me. I don't know, I've read a couple of them, I've skimmed some of them, but I just think I'm really going to like this. And then these ones, they do have longer poems in them, and they're more intricate, but they are they are based on Greek mythology and Greek goddesses. And I'm really intrigued by this book. Also, it is very aesthetically pleasing. So I'm quite excited for both of these. And we're going to do this in kind of a weird order. So I have poetry, audiobooks, physical books, and one physical reread. So the book that I will be physically rereading in the month of May is Unenchanted by Chanda Han, which, let me just tell you guys a story about this book, because this book is so... it needs more hype, okay? So this series that got me into fairy tale retellings is the Unfortunate Fairy Tale series. So back in 6th grade, when we got our iPads in school, I found the first book on an ebook, and it was free. And I must have read this book like 6 times just on my iPad, and I loved it so much. And then I got my library to get the physical copies, and then I read it another like 3 times. I was like the only one that checked out those books after I had my library get finished copies of them. I just love them so much. I can't even explain it, but this is such an underrated series. I just think it's so good. So basically it focuses on this girl named Mina Grime, who is unlucky, unpopular, and uncoordinated, and then she saves her crush's life on a field trip, which changes her status from loser to hero overnight. But her newfound fame brings misfortune in the form of an old family curse come to light. She's a descendant from the brothers Grimm and has inherited all of their unfinished fairy tale business, which includes trying to outwit a powerful story for making her its next fairy tale victim. To break the family curse on her family and make these deadly occurrences stop, she must finish the tales until the very grim end. And it sounds really corny, and honestly, it might be. I don't really remember. It's been years since I read this. But I just love them. I have the first 2 physically, and I'm going to order the rest on Amazon. Probably for myself for my birthday, because I just love them. I think these are self-published. I think anyways. I'm not sure though, let me see. Yeah, these are self-published. There's no company on them. So yes, if you want a self-published book, I really love this series. Like, I truly love this series. It's got like such a nostalgic place in my heart. I just love them. And then for audiobooks, why don't we go into the ones that I don't have here, which is just Deathly Hallows. Yeah, I don't have my physical copy here, but I will be getting it tomorrow because I'm going to my dad's tomorrow. And yeah, we're wrapping up my Harry Potter rereads, and I'm kind of sad because I've been enjoying them so much. Rereading Harry Potter, because I've only reread the first couple of them. I've never reread, like, from, I think, 5, 6, and 7. I've never reread before. So this is, like, my first time going back and rereading the 5th, 6th, and 7th book. And it's given me a newfound appreciation for the whole series, just because I can appreciate how things get darker and things change. And there's just so many lessons that can be pulled from the Harry Potter series. And the more I read them and reread them and pick up more information on them, the more I can appreciate what the series has done. And I'm so immensely enjoying my reread of this, and I'm kind of sad that it's ending. But yes, I am really excited to reread Deathly Hallows. I feel like there's a lot that I skimmed over the first time I read it because I was just so excited to be finally reading Harry Potter after growing up in the Bible Belt and being grounded for reading them. So I'm going to be reading Deathly Hallows on audio. I have it reserved from my library. And as you saw in my TBR unwrapping, I'm hoping to get to the Trials of Apollo Book 4, Tyrant's Tomb this month. And I would like to read this on audio. I have the audiobook reserved, but it says it's not going to get to me for 10 weeks. So I'm kind of iffy about it. Sometimes they do these things where the hold can relapse to you. If someone is already in the middle of a different audiobook, they can borrow it out to you and still hold their place in line. So I'm kind of holding out hope that someone will do that. But if not, I have no problem moving this to an audiobook for next month. But I figured I would throw it on here just because I did unwrap it for this month's TBR. I will say this is book 4 on the Trials of Apollo, which is set around, obviously, Apollo falling from grace and having to go through these trials to get his immortality back. And I really appreciate how the characters from Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus are in this, but it's just not the same. I'm sure that anybody that has read this, that grew up reading Percy Jackson or the Heroes of Olympus, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's good, it's kind of nostalgic, but it's just not the same. It doesn't hit the same. But regardless, I'm still excited to continue with this series and see what it's all about, just because I love his writing when it comes to Greek mythology. Speaking of Greek mythology, actually, I am also adding Circe by Madeline Miller to my TBR for audiobooks. I also have this one reserved in my library, and this is a very beautiful book. I have been meaning to read Madeline Miller's books for a while now, and I just continuously keep not getting to them. But I'm really hoping to. I think this one has an 8-week hold on it, question mark. I'm not sure. I'm trying to rent this out from my library. But I really want to get to this and Song of Achilles once and for all. I don't have Song of Achilles on this TBR, but maybe for next TBR that might be a possibility. I started Circe once, but I couldn't really get into it, and I think it's because there are so many, in Greek mythology, there are so many different names, weird pronunciations, and they throw like 45 different names at you at once. So Greek mythology, I think it's always good to listen through, or to at least have an audiobook on hand in case things get a little bit murky. So yeah. I don't really know the plot of this, and I don't want to. All I know is that it's about Circe and Greek mythology and all that goodness. And I adore Greek mythology, so I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I've heard so many good things about Madeline Miller's books. So yes, I'm hoping to try to get to this in May for audio, but then again, the only thing preventing me from getting to these is if the hold goes past May. So yeah. And then for audiobooks, we also have The Glass Castle by Jeanette Wells, which is a memoir following some kids who are dealing with an alcoholic father, and a mother who doesn't really feel like doing much about it. So it's just about the resilience of children and growing up in a broken home. So I am going to read this on Scribd, and I also have the movie. So how the story went is my mom watched the movie and cried over it, and when I woke up the next morning, she's like, you need to watch this movie. And I'm like, what movie is it? She's like, Glass Castle. And I'm like, God, that sounds so familiar to me. And I went to work and I was thinking about it all day. I'm like, where have I heard the name Glass Castle? And I clicked, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a book. And it went viral on BookTube. It's a memoir. So naturally, me being me, I went and I ordered the book and the movie. So I'm going to be listening to this on audio through Scribd. And after that, I'm going to be watching the movie. Just because, I don't know, I just feel like it. So yeah, and then finally for my audiobooks, we have New Moon by Stephanie Meyer. I'm rereading Twilight because guess what? It's 2020 and I'm still trash for Twilight. I just found an old ass bookmark in here. What? I didn't make this, but it's so cool. I didn't make this, but there's drawings all over it, and it's pretty dope. So yeah, I'm going to be rereading New Moon, and I decided to put it on audio just because they have so many bigger books physically and I've been so good about getting through my audiobooks that I figured if I can find it on audio, I'm going to get it. So I've been really enjoying my reread of Twilight because, hello, I'm trash for Twilight. Don't come for me. I just love it. So there's that. And without further ado, shall we get into my physical TBR for the month of May, which honestly, it looks like a lot, but in my reading schedule, I'm only reading 2 books a week. And actually, something really cool I want to share with you guys. If you have a smaller TBR, like right here, I have 9 books, which seems like a lot and it seems like a daunting task. But what I was able to do was I was able to break it up so that, like, for example, I'm reading half of Unenchanted tomorrow in a poetry collection, and then I'm finishing it Saturday and reading another poetry collection. And then I'm starting 2 novels on Sunday, and so on and so forth. So I'm reading basically 2 books a week, and I actually had so much room left in my TBR that I could incorporate catch-up days on there. So, like, May 14th is my first catch-up day, and I just have that to catch up on whatever reading I missed. And then same with May 21st and 22nd. May 22nd is a catch-up day, and so is May 15th. And then I am done with my reading on May 28th, so the rest of May will just be catch-up days. And I think that's a really cool concept for me to incorporate in my reading schedules, and I think it's going to help a ton and to help me from not getting so stressed out and slumpy when I'm getting behind on my reading. So I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, this looks like a lot, but in reality, I'm only going to be reading 2 books at a time, and I will be getting breaks in between, so I'm kind of eager to go into May to think about knocking all these books off my TBR. I don't want to set my standards too high because I know that my track record hasn't been the greatest lately with finishing my TBRs. I don't think I've ever finished a TBR ever, but anyways, we'll see, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm just so tired right now, but I wanted to get this video filmed because going to my desk tomorrow, I didn't want to have to take all of these books with me and all my wrap-up books because I do have to film my wrap-up at my dad's house. Anyways, let's get into it. So the first book I really need to finish in the month of May is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I am currently, I think, 219 pages into this. Let's see for sure. 217 pages. And I am enjoying it. It's just a lot to take in really fast. There's just a lot of info dumping and a lot of information that you feel like you have no background on. Like, you feel like you can't really understand the information that's being thrown at you. But what was I just going to say? Public service announcement, do not read the synopsis. It gives away a big spoiler. And I was told not to read the synopsis, so I didn't. And I felt like it just made the story a lot better for me, even though I didn't finish it yet. But I just feel like the impact of it hit me harder, not knowing. But if you go into it knowing, it's like, okay, yeah, cool, it happened, whatever. But if you want the experience to be better, I would not read the synopsis because there's a gigantic spoiler in it. So I need to finish this. This is like top of my list. Unenchanted only came first because it was the shortest book, and I know that I read that book really fast, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just knock that out with my poetry collections, and then I can pair the bigger books up with each other. Sorry, I'm so tired. Work kicked my ass today. And Nana knows it. She's like, yep, let's go to bed. She's like, no need to film videos here, Mom. So next is another book I need to read / finish. I've barely started it. And that is Imagine Me by Tahara Mafi. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of stalling on reading this just because I know that it's the end of the series, and it makes me really sad to think that another one of my OG series is ending. Almost all of the series that have gotten me through BookTube are ending. So I'm like, okay, what do I do now? Almost all of the series that have carried me through my first BookTube years are done and have finished either last year or this year. And I'm just not okay. So without further ado, this is the last book in the Shatter Me series, and I'm not fine. But yeah, I think I'm only on page 25 right now, so I would probably be better off just starting this over again and finishing it. That's on my TBR. I'm kind of nervous. I do the same thing with all of the books that are ending. I just stall and stall and stall, and I finally get to it, and then I love it. And then I'm sad that it's over, but at the same time, the ending was good. Next, we have No Judgements by Meg Cabot, which is an adult romance about a girl named, God, what is her name? Bree, who is taking some space to herself in her childhood vacation town of Little Bridge, which is in the Florida Keys. She's dealing with some complications with her ex-boyfriend, and all of a sudden this hurricane is about to hit their island, and she decides not to evacuate and to instead take in all of the stray animals that people have left behind and care for them and keep them safe during the hurricane. Only she ends up meeting up with her boss's really hot nephew, and they will try to save all these animals and survive a hurricane together. And then her ex-boyfriend shows up. So I thought this sounded really cute and really interesting. And yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm on page 70. So that's pretty cool. Next, this book goes completely to Witty Novels, who convinced me in one single setting to read this book. Furyborn by Claire Legrand. If I'm being honest, this has been on my radar for the longest time, but I have not had the willpower to pick it up because look at this book, it's chunky. It's actually not as big as it looks. It's only like 500 pages, I think. Less. It's 500 pages exactly. Ooh, this is cool. And yeah, basically, Witty Novels convinced me to read this book. I don't want to go into the synopsis. All I know is that it's about two queens. One will carry the power of the seven. They will carry the power of the seven. They will carry your fate in their hands. I just really want to read this. I just think it's finally time. Now that the last book is coming out soon, I think it's a perfect time to pick it up. Maybe love a new series. But I definitely need to start reaching for more series now that all of mine are ending. So, yes, there's that. And I also would love to continue with The Infernal Devices. I have Clockwork Prince here by Cassandra Clare. I'm really excited for this. Not gonna lie. So, this is a collector's first edition. I don't know what makes it a collector's first edition, because usually there's something that indicates it, but maybe it's just this exclusive story. But yeah, I loved Clockwork Angel, and I'm really, really eager to continue this. Reading Infernal Devices kind of just reminded me of how I felt reading City of Bones for the first time, which was really not nostalgic, but it was just like a really comfortable read, where it's like you just get into the groove of it so fast, and it's like they instantly becomes a beloved series of yours. So I'm really excited to be finally getting through Cassandra Clare's books, because after I finish Infernal Devices, I can move on to The Dark Artifices, and then move on to, is it called The Last Hour? I don't even know anymore, but I'm going to be reading Clockwork Prince, and if I'm being honest, I'm really excited. Also, I have the option of picking this up on audio if need be, but I was doing pretty well reading Clockwork Angel physically. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, so I think I'm going to pick this up physically, and if I really need to, I'll go and get the audiobook from my library, but I don't really think it'll be necessary. I guess it just depends on what's going on in life. And then next, you obviously saw me unwrap Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This has been on my radar ever since I saw the movie. I had no idea this book existed, and then the movie came out, and I loved the movie more than I thought I would, because I was just like, oh, cool, video games, visual reality, whatever. And then I watched the movie, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it. And so I've been wanting to read the book and see what it's all about. And I picked it up and just never got around to it. But you know what? Maybe this will be our month for Ready Player One. Who knows? who really knows? I wish I could get this on audio, because I feel like this might be a little bit of a harder book for me to get through, just because of the, this is an adult book. Just because it's an adult science fiction dystopian, I don't know, it kind of makes my head hurt thinking about reading it without an audiobook. But maybe we'll be fine. And then next we have Frostfire by Amanda Hocking, which was one of my TBR unwrappings for last month that I was not able to get to. This was the first book I bought on Book Outlet, and it's such a pretty book. It really is. It's beautiful, and I don't know. It just sounds pretty good. It kind of gives me Red Queen vibes, if that makes sense. Or like Frostfire vibes. I don't know. I'm pretty intrigued by it, and it's decently short. So I'd like to see where it goes. Next we have Still Life with Tornado by A.S. King. And to be honest, I have no idea what this is about. I think it might be a hard-hitting contemporary or something about some type of disorder. Let's see if it says in the little copyright thingy. Okay, let's see. Family secrets, family violence, marriage and divorce, social issues, physical and emotional abuse, sexual abuse. Okay, so this is a hard-hitting contemporary to boot. Wow, I can't wait. I love hard-hitting contemporaries, and I don't really want to go into it knowing a lot, but I'm excited for another hard-hitting contemporary. And I've heard a lot of good things about A.S. King, and this is a pretty short book, so I really don't think I'm going to have any problems with this at all. But I'm quite excited to finally pick up an A.S. King. And then finally, I feel like a lot of BookTube is going to be really happy seeing this on my TBR, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I don't know what particularly drew me to picking up this book finally, but I was looking at it on my bookshelf, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put that on my TBR. And in my head, I'm like, you are? And here it is. So, to be honest, all I really know about this is that there's, like, travelers who can travel between parallel universes. And there's, like, all different colors of London, which are, like, different. There's gray, which is dirty and boring with no magic, with a king. Red London, where life and magic are revered. White London, people fight to control magic, and the magic fights back. There was a Black London that no one speaks of. And this follows a guy named Kel who travels amongst all these Londons. And I'm pretty intrigued by it, and this fan base is pretty large. So I'm trusting you guys on this one. I mean, I guess I trusted you guys with Six of Crows, and I did end up kind of liking Six of Crows. So, yeah. And that's a wrap on my TBR. I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of nervous to see where it goes, but I'm also really excited to see what May brings in terms of reading. So yeah, I have 4 days off. So let's hope that I can get reading done. It is currently April 30th. You guys probably won't see this video until at least tomorrow, if not Saturday or Sunday. Who knows? But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my TBR, if you've read any of these books and think that they're worth my while, or if you are also planning to read any of these books. Let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. Comment something down below. I love hearing from you guys, even if I don't respond right away. My YouTube's been acting up lately, like major big time. I've been having some serious issues with my YouTube. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time for a new video.